Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back for another Thursday night paint and chill with special guest, this slacker.
That's a
Uh
box.
oh, someone got a box. What'd you get?
I'm thinking it's a ceiling fan.
It's a what?
Ceiling fan.
A ceiling fan. That's no fun.
In the summer heat, it most definitely is.
I guess. Looks kind of small for a ceiling fan.
Yeah. I don't like the super big ones. I go for the turbojet ones. They're quieter and they take up less space.
All right.
Yeah. It's the same model we put in the hall. And that shit. That shit means I don't have to I don't have to towel myself off when I go from the bathroom to the room. I just cross underneath it and I'm instantly dry.
Yeah, or you could,
After getting out of the shower, obviously.
yeah. Here we just exist in the 99.999 thousand degree temperature, and it's pretty much a done deal.
Yeah, but like I was telling you on Discord the other day, I live off of Lake Ontario there, so the heat is a nice water-based heat, another dry one.
Yeah, fuck that. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and
I'd fill in the lake if I were you.
yeah, well, we tried that back in the like 60s. It, it was very expensive and took a long time, and we only got some islands out of it.
That's
A new lake shore.
okay.
Yeah,
More property, I guess. I don't know.
yeah. So
So how you been, man?
we
It's
actually did that.
been a minute.
Pretty good, pretty good. You just tired and sweaty and
Yeah,
short fused.
I can imagine. I can
Yeah,
imagine. Got some reading done. Got some other stuff done. The God Report took extra time because of guests over the
yeah,
weekend, and
yeah. Okay, so the comment that I tried leaving that it didn't. Uh, Cal said no excuse
uh-huh.
for being late or whatever, and I said Shadow was too busy in the Astrolube mines working hard. As a poor orc child, you'd have no idea what that's like. But the guys in the garage really need the the supplies or whatever, so something like
Uh,
that. Astro lube is the lube that you use for butt sex.
yeah, I noticed your misspelling, but I was able to translate uh, it.
What? I thought you
Uh,
said you.
what, what you wrote in Discord?
Oh yeah.
You spelled lube with Loop. I'm like,
Ah,
huh? Oh, okay.
I didn't use the keyboard for that, so
Gotcha.
whatever the fuck it came up with was what I let it come up with. I don't fucking pay attention when I do that. That's my autocorrect problems is speech to text.
Okay.
I don't look at the screen. I just yeah, enter.
Yeah. Let's
I
hope.
assume it's what much like you not wanting to move your thumbs or whatever.
No, it's just the keys are very close and very sensitive. I
Yes.
tested it out. I put the keyboard down at like eye level, and I could see a space between my finger and the key, the touch screen.
Yeah.
And I was literally not touching the keys, but it was reacting as if I was actually touching them.
There's my
By
fanboy.
about anywhere from 1 to 2 millimeters away, it will sense it, which is scary because that means it's also potentially reading your fingerprints.
It doesn't have optics though. It works through static discharge.
Then that's even worse because, well, not worse than that, but that makes it even more difficult to make sure I'm not hitting the wrong keys because my hair creates
No, no,
static electricity.
no. It's got to be skin, not. Like, they know there's been the technology's from the like the 50s or some shit
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Kodak had digital cameras back when my dad
No,
was
no,
young.
no. The static uh, button thing.
Really?
Yeah, one of the first mainstream uses for it was uh, restaurant order taking stations.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you used to see
And
them
now,
all the
now they
time.
just got pictures of hamburgers and stuff because the
Yeah.
retards can't read or do math.
Um. No, those ones were actual touch displacement. Um. Usually, you'd see these things at higher end restaurants. Um. They'd be in each section, and the waiter would go over and type in your order. But there weren't there they wouldn't have a keyboard. It would be right on the screen. It would
Okay,
just be like the menu would be there, and they would tap it.
that must have been
Uh,
pretty expensive.
uh, yeah, I think each one of those stations was something like $4,000 or $5,000 or something like that.
Really?
Um, but worth it because it kept your order staff on the floor, out of the kitchen,
Yeah.
um, and the orders would automatically be there and clear because it was the right order number and not some shorthand, right? You know, wait staff shorthand.
Yeah, yeah. I'm aware of it. I can't read it, but
Well, that was the problem. Nobody could.
yeah. Well, secretaries and things like that, people who
Yeah,
weren't working the food industry because they
yeah.
were too busy taking dictation and things like that.
Too busy taking.
Well, if you're a secretary, I assume you're doing both.
Yeah.
I mean, who hires an ugly secretary? Just saying.
Does this look like green to you?
No, everything looks like black or white or gray.
That was half the joke, Shadow.
I,
It happens yellow. Who the fuck put the yellow ground wire?
I don't know.
Neutral line. Uh, they labeled them. That's very. Oh, there's a green stripe going down it. Guess that counts. I've always seen the ground wire as solid green. The color codes for wires actually do mean things.
Yeah,
That's why you're supposed to use the right color.
yeah. Kind of like
Now,
in
I'll give them that the white is optional with red. They do have subtle differences, but for most applications, it doesn't matter.
where'd it come from?
Amazon,
China, the Philippines.
probably China,
Hey, it's funny. I've been
probably
seeing
China.
a lot of weird crap from the Ukraine lately. When
Yeah,
up until a couple of years ago, I never saw that. It was
well,
Mexico, China.
well, that's for an obvious reason. Before recent events instigated by the U.S. State Department, the Ukraine was an added manufacturing center for Russia. They really can't additive manufacture for Russia while at war with Russia.
Yeah, I'll be glad when this shit's over.
Yeah.
Uh, but that'll be because I'm dead, not because it's over.
But that would be really funny if the Russians were sending the Ukrainians like some copper or some shit or some brass and some lead and say, "Hey, make us bullets," and then the Ukrainians were sending back bullets and then then getting shot by them.
Well, they would just sell them back to Russia anyways. So
Oh,
crazy. So I got Doc Flamingo's game in the mail. He sent me, dude.
this thick.
It's two books, just under one book's like 345, the player's book, I guess, and then the DM's book is makes up the difference for about 900 total pages. I'm like,
Yes,
Jesus Christ, Doc, you know that's going to take me
and
forever.
no fucking pictures whatsoever.
Oh no, there's pictures.
Okay.
It's all stock art, things like that. But it actually looks like a lot of ideas from Traveler. So I kind of like that. So I don't have to do that, but I really have no other idea than that. How it's done. It looks like he did a lot of work. I'm going to have him on one one, so
Assembly
he can
complete.
tip his game. Pardon?
Assembly complete.
That was pretty quick.
Yep.
The Hooker's book.
The hooker's book.
Nice one, Cal.
Get it right, Cal. Shadow has the Gigolo's book, not the hooker's
Yeah,
book.
if only I would have died younger and I wouldn't be here uh, if that was the case.
He's
Or I
also
would
got
have so much, or I'd have so much throat cancer that I would never be able to speak on the air.
he's also got the instruction manual on prep memorized.
No. I did see a really good video on an EDC everyday.
2 pounds of 2 pounds of prep daily is what keeps Shadow alive.
No, no. I did see a really good video today on an everyday carry kit. A couple of gadgets that I always forget to put in my uh, arsenal, if you will. A whistle. It's like, you know what? That's actually a really good idea.
Oh, wait, whistle.
It's just a good whistle. I
Oh,
also need to get some more bleed stop
bleed stuff. You need
because I'm
super
pretty
glue.
sure the stuff that I have is expired.
You need to get your extra large prep dispenser.
And a couple of good tourniquet kits. But otherwise, I'm pretty well stocked for stuff like that. Um,
Do
got a
have
couple
to
of good
install my
books in the last
safety screws.
week or so. I finished the Swamp Thing uh, issue 1 through 30, kind of like an omnibus, but it's much thinner. But it's still 30 comic books from back in the day. But it's got all the ads taken out, which I really don't like. You
Oh,
know,
I like that.
you like when they take the ads out?
Yeah, I have the entire run, the entire run of heavy metal
Oh, really?
on my computer, not
Yeah.
in paper, and they're like original book scans or whatever
Okay.
because it's not a legitimate thing. R maybe, and every time I go in and open one up because they're in that comic reader format, but you can
Right.
just switch it to PDF. Um, I crack the PDF and I delete those fucking things, the ads, all of them.
Really? I love the ads. Why don't you like the ads?
Oh, a lot of them are redundant for like other issues of the magazine or posters or
Yeah.
like thing. Hey, you saw the cover of this book. Do you want to buy it in like 15 inches by 35? I've already seen a couple
kind
of
of I
them.
kind of dig that, especially
Yeah,
with the creepy area in Vampirella, where it's got
yeah,
the old posters, the masks, the all kinds of stuff that if you had it now or if you had it back then, it
it'd be
is a little
freaking
bit of a
cool. But like, I want to, I want to read the stories, not get interrupted by the
it,
fucking.
for me, it's a page or two that I have to turn extra. I'm not gonna, sprain an elbow doing so,
No,
and
but like,
the
I've also started going through and taking all the like continuous stories like Den or whatever,
yeah.
and compiling them just into one folder. So I just like when I want to go read Den, I don't have to like flip through other stuff. I just there's issue one, issue
I
two, issue
love seeing
three,
the
issue four.
like. There's this one ad that just cracked me up. It was a kung fu self teaching the dim mak, the finger of death. You know,
Yes, it's there are funny ones, but like after you get through the, do you want to buy the cover of this magazine? Do you want to buy this collection of covers of this magazine? The most common three ads you will find in the kind of magazines that I have are: do you want to buy this car? Do you want to buy this towel? Do you want to buy this antiquated piece of electronics?
but you,
Right?
you don't
Like,
want to buy you don't want to buy a spy camera or a joy buzzer or a fake poop or any of
no,
those
no,
things.
it's
The
usually like a
X-ray
radio
goggles.
or a TV or something like that. You I think there's like the odd cologne. That's like,
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, it was.
yeah,
I only
I don't need to buy fucking Stetson perfume.
I
Okay.
only owned a few heavy metal magazines, but the other
Yeah.
stuff that I did, because every once in a while I'd actually mail off for one of those things.
Yeah.
You know, uh, the same with the Bazooka Joe bubblegum wrappers. I got something from mailing in a bunch of those once, and it's just I wish they still did that. You still could mail away for stuff with a check or money order and a couple of stamps. Instead of
Yeah.
everything having to be digital. I've lost more money from people ripping me off online by taking my credit card number or whatever than I ever lost mailing away for something that was bullshit. Like some
Yeah.
product, that ended up being not what you like. They advertised a submarine once. In
Yeah.
the
It was
magazines. It was
cardboard.
oh yeah, totally. But it was $7. Even back then, that was what maybe 17, 15, dollars as opposed to hundreds of dollars to some fucker in India who got a hold of my information and just started charging shit.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
happened to you. You've had the. I'm gonna have to let you go for a minute. I need to go to the bathroom.
you do that, and I will continue talking to Cal and the nobody else who's watching this stream. How you doing, Cal? Uh, I'm working on the stuff that you asked me about, but I'm also working on Sunday's game. This week went by so freaking fast, unbelievably fast. Um, and now I got to figure out what you guys, might bump into in Sunday's game. I'm really hoping that Brian will come back. I didn't talk to Raven about that. She said she wanted to come back, but we'll see. I don't know where she is. She said she was going to join us tonight, but no, I don't see her. Um, got a couple other really cool books in the mail this week, besides the ones Doc Flamingo sent me. But I got my Avenger. Did you get your Avenger Kickstarter? Play like a fucking boss. Because I'm a couple dozen pages into it, and I'll buy pretty much anything he puts out. But it seems he's going very very into the 4D sort of mentality, and that's great when you're in person, but online it's real difficult when you've got a group like ours with you know total of 6 or 7 players. It's who don't do the 4D thing. It's It's kind of rough. But what else did I get today? I got this Venture Brothers T-shirt. That was a surprise. I forgot I had to order it. It was like $12. So I was like, yeah, can I get two? Jackie would never wear it though. I asked him if he'd like to watch some Venture Brothers with me. I'd rather die was his response. Unbelievable. You believe that? Did you get the Splintered Light ad, Cal? They've got a big sale going on, like 30% off. But I'm gonna have to pass again. I just don't see me using the 15 millimeter miniatures anytime in the next like 2 years. So I've got hundreds of 15 mil miniatures still unpainted, and they keep lagging. They sent me their playtest rules, but they didn't give me the army lists for all the races that I'd want to play: lizardmen, hobgoblins, and undead. They just gave me a bunch of humans and goblins and orcs, and I'm like, yeah, thanks, but you know, getting Jackie to play back then, had it been skeletons or undead or lizard man, I could see him wanting to play them, but orcs, goblins, or humans, there's no chance of that. But man, June just flew by, didn't it? This month just blink and it's over. Jackie's been off on vacation for like 3 weeks. Hardly seen him. He's like camping out in his room. Only comes down to eat. Typical teenager, but he's actually, according to him, he's helping a friend of his write a cyberpunk video game. So I'm like, okay, cool. I offered him some help, even though I don't like cyberpunk. I played it, I read it, I owned it, I've seen all the movies, and he has like almost no idea. So that's either going to be a really really good thing or a completely impossible thing to get right without having some experience doing that. Let's see if Raven's going to join us, shall we, folks? She said, "Send me the link." Hey, Cal, have you got your Dungeons and Lasers Kickstarter in yet, or even the shipping information? I know they just put out a what do you call it a an update that said they're starting to ship those things, but it could take. I think they said like up to another 2 months, and I'm like, oh, don't do that to me. I was waiting, hoping to get to pop that open next month and go back down to the dinner table, do one of those videos, and show off like the goblin caves or the spider caves. I'm curious to see what they do with the Gothic haunted house Kickstarter. Of course, I'll have to back it, but I don't know,
What's cool?
man. Dungeons and Lasers next Kickstarter is a haunted house themed Kickstarter terrain, and that could be either really really cool or like with their village and town. Everything just kind of ends up looking the same without really dressing up. Because some of the walls have peg holes where you can put like a shield or something hanging, you know. But with a haunted house, there's only so many picture frames you can throw up, in there. And what else are you gonna have on the walls,
Suit of armor, a lot of
Yeah, but they're
chandeliers.
no, I mean like in the middle of the wall, just right there, not like floor to ceiling, because they do have suits of armor and things like that and furniture. But you got this hole in the middle of the wall. You know,
Yeah,
you, usually they were for like cameras or spouts or different things that could be sticking out of a wall, but for a house, you got pictures, and they'll do a good job because I think there is like one framed picture somewhere amongst the pieces of scattered terrain. But if it's a portrait, it's going to be 3D, and you'll be able to see the details in the plastic, so you can paint it a little better. But you've got like 15 different portraits of the same portrait. That's going to look weird.
Yeah,
Although that
well,
could be a kind of a creepy thing if all the paintings in a house suddenly turn to one person's face and they're shouting at you or laughing or you know doing the ooh thing.
yeah.
But that's going to be you know a one time thing unless it's a different group. What do you get there?
Uh,
Same. Just tearing shit up, huh?
this is my screwdrivers.
Oh. Yeah, Modifius has got a sale going on right now. I saw like you could pick up literally everything from the Modifius John Carter game for less than $30 before shipping. The basic core set of the slipcase was $90 when it came out.
Yeah. Uh, I don't know if I care about John Carter enough to buy. Buy
I
again.
got everything when it came out, and since then a couple other things came out. I didn't get them. The art's gorgeous. For that alone, it was worth it.
Is Deja Thor's tits out?
No, of course not.
Then they didn't do the art right. So
Yeah, well, I don't know that they were ever described as thus in the paperbacks. I'm pretty sure they.
yeah, they were.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. They put the pasties on her sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes in book covers, but
That I do recall seeing things similar to that, but mostly with like the Dynamite comic books, the old
yeah.
paperbacks that I have. Because mind you, I've got like 2 and 3 copies of each book with different covers and whatnot. I don't remember anything quite that risque. Uh,
Well,
but
never on the covers, right? But that's a shame because I'm a mature boy of
yeah,
the
but
the
but
the the discerning taste and quality of.
in the 1920s through 1940s, that was never a thing. So
It depends on where you were, right? Because I know Weird Comics had to fire an artist because when they moved location, they couldn't have uh, certain levels of nudity on their covers anymore. So they got rid of their artist.
why just tell them to cover them up?
She the artist didn't want to, and it was just a secondary excuse because it would have cost them more to ship the art from where she was living to where they moved. So,
Yeah, gotcha.
uh,
So basically, she was a lesbian, and they found.
no, she was married and had kids and all that, and nothing weird
Really?
ever disrupt. Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
that's weird.
Grammaticus did a video on her.
Really?
You can go look that. Yeah,
Huh.
pretty sure it was weird.
I don't remember seeing it. Mind you, I've only watched about a dozen of his book reviews.
Yeah.
So you ready to run this Saturday?
Yeah. I do very minimal prep. I just kind of figure out what's going to be there, and if you get to it, you get to it.
Yeah.
I'm really upset you haven't gotten to the little kid. Wait, did you guys fight the little kid already?
No.
Okay.
Now that we know there's a little kid to fight, I'll leave it up to everybody else.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure I'll help out.
Yeah. I doubt it. I doubt it.
What are you talking about? My character's powerhouse.
Yeah, I know. You cheated.
It just kept hitting re-roll till I saw something I liked. Not my
Yeah,
fault that he had.
it was
You
the
know,
instructions I specifically gave you.
well, no, that armor is pretty handy, and having 10 hit points is kind of a
Yeah.
big deal.
If I didn't want you to have them, I'd remove them.
Yeah, I just I was looking more for the not a deformed lump of you know degenerate flesh. Every character was just like God.
You're playing the wrong game. You're
Yeah,
supposed to you're supposed to look at these characters like they're one of the wretched, disgusting freaks from King Arthur and the Search for the Holy Grail, or whatever that fucking
uh,
Monty Python.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to want to put myself into those kind of stinky, smelly shoes. Just
Yeah.
as
You,
a
you just pretend to be French and it'll be okay.
yeah. I was having to explain to Jackie. You probably weren't alive or remember, but there was a period in time where they had quite the reputation for BO. I don't know if that's changed. I assume it's worse now with the change in the population demographics. But
Paris still smells like piss, from what I hear.
yeah, it was just like it was so just like a fact that it wasn't even funny anymore.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Just deal with it. You know, which is weird because it's supposed to be the city of romance and all that, but yet it literally smells like people are fucking right next to you. So,
No, not fucking piss.
well,
The
no,
sewer was built. It's one of the first sewers ever built,
no,
and
no,
it
no, no.
wasn't built deep
I'm not
enough.
just talking about that. It was the literal body odors that
Oh,
was a thing back in the day. From like the '60s to the '80s, it was just
oh,
everybody
before that.
knew that they didn't bathe as often as they probably should or
Well,
worse.
I think it's the women never took the shaving the armpits thing,
That was
and
part of it, or maybe a side effect.
um, no, I think that was pretty much the point. And maybe deodorant wasn't I don't blame them. I fucking hate the stuff myself. Uh, put it on when I go out and stuff, but the application feels
Yeah,
fucking
I'm a
weird to me.
spray guy. Wiping wax and chalk all over my body. Just
Yeah,
what the fuck? I mean, maybe I should just take a better shower.
it doesn't matter
I know.
because well, you could do the same thing women do, which is like remove your armpit hair, because the body odor is like just casual sweat building up on the hair and then
Yeah,
drying, and then the dry releases the bo smell.
it's pretty gross.
So without the hair for it
Latch
to
onto.
latch onto, it doesn't become like an odorizer. Yeah,
Yeah, we're nasty creatures.
yeah. But you know the purpose of that. There's a functional purpose of that system happening that way. Do you know what it is for?
To get us eaten by more wild animals.
No, it's to get you laid.
Yeah, I don't see that being the thing anymore.
Social programming. There was a time when that scent meant to the ladies, I want to get down and busy.
Yeah,
And that scent was less than 100 years ago.
I understand that, and I'm so glad time travel is not a real thing. Time only goes forward
Yeah.
because I would have died back then.
No, you would have just been used to it. It would have been the normal teeth.
No, not if I went there
Oh,
for now.
you would have gotten used to it after about a week or so.
No, I wouldn't because I would have never gone back into town again. Just be
Then
like,
you would
fuck,
have gotten eaten by an animal.
this is, probably. Speaking of which, I lost my first character since I started playing online. I told this story over on Bubba's show. In OG's game, the four characters we had two thieves and two clerics, and we were camping at night in the middle of a field with a like an 8 foot tree off in the distance, and six lions come upon our first level characters. Mind you, one lion alone would have more hit points than we do or did. If you added up all our hit points, that lion would have more and has a better
Yeah.
chance to hit and kill and eat us, which it did. It killed two of us, me and the other guy. But as soon as I saw the lions, I took out some oil and made like a big like ring of fire around myself, from the campfire.
And then you immolated yourself.
Nope, nope. The lion just said, "I don't care about fire." Freaking one swipe, I was dead.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
there's no
really
run.
upset.
You can't
I'm
run from a lion, let alone six of them when there's
yeah.
four of you.
I'm really upset that nobody has died in the Mork board game yet.
Well, it's only probably halfway into the game, and two of the party members were able to climb this 8 foot tall tree, thinking that would save them, which apparently it did because
I now regret being nice to Raven in the first session.
what's up, George? You know where the link is. You want to join us, but I was kind of, disappointed. The lion should have killed six lions, four of us, two hiding in a single tree. Those six lions should have, killed us all. Just,
Yeah.
but they were satisfied with only taking two of our corpses, which is also kind of dumb because the lions would have said, "What? There's more? Yeah, we'll get them all." They're not going to just take two and fight over them between six lions, as in two corpses. Um,
Yeah.
you can't run. You can't outrun a lion. You can't outclimb a lion. And fire should have scared them off, but it didn't. I should have been the only one to live. Is actually the point.
They were demon lions or some shit.
No, just regular lions.
Then that's breaking the verisimilitude. I call shenanigans.
Yeah. So next game, I got to roll up a new character. Uh, and it's funny because my character, the thief, had like all the magic items we'd ever found in the game. So the lion took my corpse off with the key component to the quest, a bunch of cool magic weapons that nobody else could use because they were clerics or a kid, a human kid's. He and I were both thieves, but he was younger and smaller, so he couldn't really use them. But he'd survived like every game, which I think was kind of a bit of plot armor. It's like, yeah, the kid survived again just because it was silly, versus the only one who did the freaking intelligent thing, which is make a big old bonfire, scare the lions, but
Yeah.
if they won't go near fire. They just won't. That's all you can do, unless you've
Yeah.
got a gun, which we didn't. Um,
Well, that is what you call DM cheating.
I don't know. I just right off the bat, I wouldn't have thrown that many lions. Maybe one, because one would have killed us all. If
Well,
it,
no, like you're saying, like you can look that up. It's not hard. Lions don't go near fire. Most animals don't.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's just like
but there's it was one of those like it's literally you can't outrun the lion. There's not enough of you to like split up and maybe one guy lives because they outnumbered us. 6-4.
yeah.
So not only are they can we not outrun them or escape that way, somebody's going to get ripped in half because two lions are going to fight over your corpse, and you can't an 8 foot tall tree is not going to stop one or two or three lions from dragging you out of that tree piece by piece.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, they'll just camp there. They'll nap by the bottom of the tree until you
yep,
fall out of it, or
yep,
start to smell
yeah.
from rotten decay.
But you like in like AD&D, if you're outdoors, the monsters or creatures you can run into are not like level keyed. Uh, you can run into a Tyrannosaurus Rex at first level. That's
Yeah,
just the
because
way
you're
it is.
supposed to run.
Right. But you should also have a chance to run.
Yeah,
But sometimes you don't.
you don't always you get ambushed, but
Sometimes the bear gets you. Sometimes you get the
yeah,
bear. But in a dungeon, if you're on the first level, they should be quote unquote first level monsters. If you're on the 10th level, well, maybe you shouldn't be on the 10th level because that's the toughest monsters are there. And
well, yeah. It's because you're like, all the rumors say this place is a pushover, so we're gonna try it.
mhm.
Like, or and that's why you're entering the level,
Thanks,
the dungeon.
George.
Uh,
But yeah, it's so I'm gonna just have to make up a fighter uh, because nobody can fight in the group, and uh,
Man, that is like I tell you, I love the idea of playing the game where everybody is like reasonably the same thing, right?
uh,
So everybody is the fighter because you're a guard detachment from the local city or whatever,
that
or
depends on the game and the genre.
you're all wizards apprentices because you're literally students from the wizards college.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
maybe after somebody dies, you can be like, we're out in the middle of nowhere. We can't just ask uh, fucking George if he wants to join the game. We're not just gonna write a letter back to college and ask if like some freshman from the underdorm wants to join our adventure after 3 months of us being on the road. We're gonna
yeah.
go to the tavern and hire whoever wants to join if that player wants to keep playing.
Yeah, the only
So
problem I have with those things is two things. It's got to be a genre that's conducive to that. Like if you're playing the Old West, everybody's the same.
yeah,
Yeah, the few skills here and there. If you're playing like a Starship Troopers or a military kind of game, or something like that you described, but there comes this problem that because you're playing a game,
yeah.
uh, if you do not have something akin to a medic and mechanics to sort of hand wave the laws of physics and wounding, you're all going to die.
Yeah, well, that's because a lot of those games, A, don't take damage serious enough. B,
Well, if you take it too
like
serious, it's a
no, I mean like that they train the player not to know when to not get into a fight or whatever. Um, and then like healing is always like a magic thing or something. But yeah,
it
I
has
know.
to be otherwise you're going to die in the second or third combat. That's it.
Yeah.
Period. That's it.
Well,
You just use it. It's a one shot, and every game would be a one shot because you get shot.
unless your players were smart.
No,
No, I'm
I've
saying
not
like
run in a game where the party avoids every fucking thing because they rolled to sneak past everything. You know what I mean?
ah,
If
you
you're the
could.
one guy in like Metal Gear or whatever, where you played Solid Snake or
Yeah,
something like that, those kind
yeah,
of games,
yeah.
maybe. But you got a
Well,
freaking group of six guys, and they're all going to sneak through the dungeon and not get into combat once?
Well, like you got your six guys or whatever, and they see like one goblin or one orc or something like that, they jump it.
Right.
But if they're like, "Hey, there's six of us, and we see 12," well, why the fuck are there 12 just congregating somewhere? First of all, um, yeah, they should be sneaking past that. Just full stop.
Even then, like 2 to 1, those aren't bad odds when you're a human against goblins.
Yes,
You know,
but like,
if you
I'm
only
just trying
have
to.
a couple of fighters, but to think that you'd have a long running, even if it was only a week, 6 month campaign, that you're going to sneak by
Yeah,
90% of the encounters. There's fighters in the group for a reason. They want to fight.
yeah, yes,
And because of
and
that sort of dynamic where you're going to have a mixed group of capable people, but capable at different things, you need to have a medic. Even in the military, for every 10 or 20
yes.
or how many guys, you've got a couple of
Yeah,
medics.
they take first aid training and they learn how to like shut down a wound or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, okay, you give your players that. Like they don't have like magic potions and amulets and fucking.
But unless the world is either high magic or high science, where you got the Star Trek woo woo device that heals
Yeah,
up the.
yeah. But basically, lay on hands or whatever that fucking spell is. I don't know for all their names. I don't really care either. So, um, whatever the cleric.
Cure light wounds is
Yeah,
usually it's that it's funny how many games which drives me up a fucking wall when all these games literally can't even they're going to make everything better and make it their own, but they have the same exact spell list as different iterations of Dungeons and Dragons, the exact same spell at the same level, same title,
yeah.
fly or teleport and
Well,
cure
some
light.
of them are just like basic names, right? They're like,
But
uh,
at the same exact level,
yeah,
third level, it's fly. Every game in the book has got, or every game on the market has got fly as the third level spell. Cure
yeah.
light wounds is in every fucking game. Literally, cure light wounds. There's a whole lot
Yeah.
of ways you could describe the first level healing spell, than that. But you didn't even have the decency to change
Well,
it 20%.
yeah. It's too generic that you have to worry about. But the well, that's my point. Is that like it's so easy to cure wounds that is like 90% of what takes away the challenge, right?
Well, hey,
In my
what's up,
opinion.
George? It's like this. If you've got magical, zappy, blasty spells, it only makes sense that you got magic, zappy, healy spells.
Yeah.
Once you get past all that suspension of disbelief, it works. So
Well,
how you doing, George?
it's.
Good.
Hey George, it's not suspension of disbelief. It's challenge, right? Like, how much more methodical would our party on Sundays be if we weren't just able to wave away the consequences of every attack?
Well, you're not. There
Uh,
are many, many occasions, like your character. Sure they kept you from dying, but you're going to be on your ass for weeks. You know,
yes,
uh, it's
but
uh,
that's the first or second time that's happened in over a year.
there have been other people who've been pretty
To
badly
no,
jacked.
I'm talking about to anyone in the party.
It happened to Bowden. He was out of the game for a while because of
Yeah,
the
and
bleed.
that's the only other time I remember that happening.
When he got hit with the swords of wounding and he couldn't play that character.
Yes, that's the only other time I remember that happening.
It happened to Grim when
Did it?
one or more of his characters fell off the pyramid.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So three times. Does it happen to anyone
uh,
else?
I think it happened to Stronk when he was almost kidnapped.
Nope.
Yeah, from the stable.
Do not remember him not being able to play that character for a while.
Well, it could have also been because it coincided with training and things like that. So they were
Yeah.
healing while other people were training. So, hey, George, you going to join us on Saturday?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it
Yeah.
should be available. Sorry, I'm just a little discombobulated right now. I just woke
Yeah.
up.
Why's
Yeah.
that?
I know I
Oh,
had that
it's
problem.
I just fell asleep. Like I just felt so tired about an hour ago and fell asleep.
Yeah, I've been doing that. Like anytime I eat a big meal, guaranteed I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
Uh,
Let's see here. Sorry.
Especially if I like like try to skip lunch, and to not have so many calories in the day. Then I have dinner, and it's like out, out like a fucking light.
I I went for a nap around 2 o'clock. Woke
But
up
right now
today.
I've got company in the house, so getting a
Yeah.
nap during the day is just not feasible.
Yeah. I woke up for dinner. Then went right back to bed until I
Isn't that
got
the best?
the ding for Shadow. Are you going to join me today? I feel alone.
No, it's
I
just I
actually
missed you, man. I missed you. Haven't
I had
seen
an
you
alarm
since
go off at
Sunday.
the time.
Um, so how's your Star Trek game rolling along there, George?
Oh, it's great, and I'm actually I changed it to a Star Wars game. Yeah, I've
Get
been
some
I've been
practicing.
I've been coming up with some ideas. I'm thinking maybe since everybody wants to be like evil or some form of not good. I'm thinking about trying to come up with something that I want to like. One of the things is I want to be able to like have everybody on the same team in the beginning because it's like
Mhm.
where you throw people in like, oh, you're going to be the guy at this table in the bar and you're going to be that guy at that table in the bar. I want it to be that you guys know each other and have some kind of relationship, even if it might not necessarily be antagonistic, not necessarily like best of friends, but you guys are aware of each other and you're
I
on at least on
I
the
have
same side in this situation.
I have an idea that you might want to think about,
Mhm.
but you could totally fucking say you're an idiot, Justin. Stop trying to make gay porn with Shadow. I'm not, but still. Um, you could open it, and we're all like at the Dark Sith Temple
Mhm.
as Dark Sith Padawans, and the Jedi comes in and kills our master,
Ah, okay.
but but thinks we're just cleaning staff or whatever,
Yeah.
even though we're the
Yeah,
apprentices.
yeah. Don't let the black robes fool you.
I
No,
was
we haven't earned them yet.
yeah. I was thinking you guys not even starting out as necessarily Sith. You would just be you'd
Yeah,
like
well, but
just
if
have
we're
some
like apprentices, we know that we have the ability, but we're
yeah.
fucking amateur hour.
I'm thinking it's almost like you just have one force ability, or maybe you have them, but you don't have any of the skills that go with
Yes,
them,
yes,
and that
that's what I was getting at.
you like discovering it because I do like the idea that that they're rare, so you might not necessarily even know about like what you might hear about these things, and it might just be like something else in your culture, like oh you're not a Jedi, you're just like some kind of shaman or whatever. But I'm
Yeah.
thinking my idea is that you guys are part of some kind of or some kind of criminal organization.
Well,
And I was thinking like, just like you were saying, like instead of like somebody coming in and killing your Sith master, somebody killing the boss, and you
yeah.
guys might be necessarily
The,
part of the
the,
crew, but maybe somebody from the crew, and then somebody's from like maybe a fence for them or whatever. So one
I'll be
person's an
honest with you.
enforcer.
Those ideas aren't mutually exclusive from one another.
Yeah,
Because evil guy's probably stealing shit and doing
yeah,
stuff. I'm not saying he's like the best Sith Lord ever.
yeah,
And then like you could let us learn like legitimate force powers,
yeah. I
but the
think
more evil we use them, the more points we get to like learning a Sith power.
yeah. I'm thinking, yeah, one of the things is like having like a
I don't know how the system works in
yeah,
Star
no,
Wars.
yeah. One of the things I was thinking is having like Sith holocrons, kind of like being some things you might want to trying to be stealing or something, trying to find these artifacts or
Yeah.
you get them in the end. I know that I think in the Clone Wars, they bring back Darth Maul, and he becomes a crime boss.
Yeah. I never watched that.
So yeah,
I did.
You did? Yeah, of course you watched a kid's cartoon.
Well, no, because I watched it with my son because he was big into it, and we watched it
Yeah,
together.
I don't
it's not
believe you.
bad. It's not bad. I like some of them.
I would believe George if he said that. Sorry, George, for cutting you off, but I don't
That's
believe
all right.
you. I think you
I-
made
We
Jackie
we
watch
also
it.
played the Battlefront games extensively when
Oh, those are
he
fun.
was younger. The Battlefront 1 and 2 for PlayStation. Those were great fucking games.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have no doubt you forced Jackie to play those games.
Oh no. No, he was way
Uh,
more into it than I was.
I Yeah, if you want to get my youngest to run away, I go, "You want to play Star Wars or something?" It's like, yeah, she just runs away.
Well, yeah, girl, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff. I am been in a lot of the lore and stuff, and
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of shorts. It
Mhm.
reminds me there's something I'm calling dibs on, but I'm not going to say what it is live. I'll tell you
He
later.
wants his two-bladed lightsaber.
double long lightsaber.
Yeah.
No. I would definitely.
He wants it to be the extra thick black blade.
Oh, the Mandalorian one.
No.
No, no.
I,
That's being too generous.
if I could use two lightsabers, I would go that route.
Yeah, that's the one.
I always like that concept. Is like, uh,
Yeah, I have to find. I found I was looking at the lightsaber combat, so it's pretty interesting because the lightsaber. That's I think one of the reasons why they're like don't play a Jedi because the lightsaber brings things like it's really high damage for like let's say a level one for it's not really a level one, but like, for early low level character, low skilled character, it would be it's a very high damage thing. So but then
when
it's
I played Knights of the Old Republic, I always went with the double lightsabers,
yeah.
one longer, one shorter. Because when I did fence and do the SCA thing, instead of using a shield, I always went sword and dirk,
Mhm.
or sword and dagger, or sword and short sword kind of
Yeah.
Florentine style of fighting, as opposed to lugging around a big old freaking shield when you could just have a.
Nah, man, you're playing Star Wars. The saber is your shield.
No, that's what I
Your
was
free
getting at.
hand has a blaster in it, so
Well,
you don't have
I,
to lug a
I'm not opposed to that either, but
sh-
that's never really. It wasn't an option in Knights of the Old Republic that I remember that you could
That's
do
bad
that.
game design.
there were in the KOTOR games they had the you could do there was actually short lightsabers and
Yes,
long lightsabers for one for the offhand
yeah,
and one for the main hand. And I didn't find any. I was actually looking for that. Was any rules on what the difference is? But I can always make up some differences
hmm
because there are like they have lightsaber forms,
yes,
which are like sort of like
Your
you're better at
schools.
and you're better at let's say deflecting a blaster bolt. And I think like
Yeah.
something with the dual wielding, you might be better at deflecting the blaster bolt or something like that. 'Cause you can,
exactly.
Your,
As
your
well as
main hand or
being able to attack and parry at the
yeah,
same time. If you're against somebody who's only got one lightsaber, even if they've
yeah.
got a double lightsaber, you can parry that and swing at them while they're trying to, disengage
yes,
your
Yeah,
parry.
and there's
you
a lot of
see.
on the parry mechanics in the game, so that would probably be the best way to implement those things.
You see the problem with that, Shadow, is that's honorable. You want to block with one hand and gut shoot them with the other.
If I could, have a blaster pistol in the second hand, absolutely. Um,
George,
Hmm.
the dude, the dark dude,
Hmm.
he does that. I'm
Okay.
making it clear right now.
but to be honest, I would rather be
and
going.
it's a skeezy blaster. It's not like some clean shot laser pistol. It shoots some fucking acid laser bolt or some shit like that. It's like a Klingon disruptor or something.
The Varan T disruptor.
Yeah,
But I don't know what the Varan-T disruptor is.
It was like one of the only banned weapons in Star Trek. When Data was captured by that guy who liked to collect things.
When did Max get here?
What are you talking about?
You right now knowing more about Star Trek than anyone
Oh,
else.
well, I just have a really good memory for things, especially weapons. And it was like this really awful, dirty sort of one of a kind laser that this collector had when he kidnapped Data to try to get him to sit in the chair. But I would rather go with one lightsaber and force lightning than a blaster if I could. I mean, if you want to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming you don't know any of that shit. That's why.
Right. That
Yeah,
is
so
one thing.
One of the things I'm trying to figure out is like how to like how to get you guys in the same group and stuff. And remember the other day I said we never did like a how to make a crime organization in your game. At least maybe I wasn't there for it. And
No, we didn't do it.
yeah, so
I wanted you to be there. You weren't there, so we didn't
yeah.
guide
So-
the conversation in that direction.
So the yeah, I think it would be kind of cool if we could do like because I was thinking about like how they work. Like they're sort of like
Well, I can give you a couple of really easy pointers
Mhm.
because I've done that extensively. And there's some Arduin books. Maybe if I've got the extra one, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
That has like this sort of Arduin street gang and things like that. But really
Yeah.
simply, just to get yourself started, you got when you're looking at a criminals organization, right? You start with the guy at the top. Who
Mhm.
is he? What's his motivation? Why is he in crime? And what's his specialty? What kind of crimes does he oversee that he can guide these young minds to do what he tells them, so that he can achieve whatever goals he has, even if it's just to get and stay rich and undercover. He's going to have not every criminal organization does the same thing. They
Yeah.
have different specialties, different fields, different areas of influence that they whatever different crimes that are their specialties.
Yeah.
You make that character as an NPC, and then you go, okay, he's this, he wants that, he's good at this. Now he's going to have some people under him. Okay, then you go, you can either have 1, 2, 3, 4 immediate like lieutenants, his bodyguards, his most trusted advisors, his top underlings, and right there with just that, because if you have like his main bodyguard who's always there with him, always, listening, but making sure his boss stays alive, but maybe he's going to backstab him in the future, or maybe he would never backstab him and he's always trying to keep the other guys in check because,
Yeah.
he owes this guy a debt of loyalty or something, or maybe it's a chick or it's a dude and they got something going on, so there's that. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, if you do what I say, right, like you take it's a crime organization, but he's actually a Sith guy,
Mhm.
and he's got the crime organization as like how he's gaining his initial power base.
Mhm.
It justifies getting rid of him really quick, which you said you wanted to do.
Yeah.
B, like that's his thing, so it could be like spying on people and blackmailing them.
Yeah,
So,
it also
like,
would make
crime organization of blackmail is a thing.
it would also make it would
And
also make
kidnapping and stuff like
a
that.
lot more sense that 3 or 4 force sensitives are in the group because and still in a part of this organization because he's maybe looking for them, instead of like a regular crime
He
boss.
might be kidnapping them from families that have them or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, So what else? I'm sorry, stuck there. The other thing I was thinking about was the front. A lot of the criminal, the big ones, they have like a front, like a legitimate front. The pork store,
So some like business somewhere.
Yeah,
Like it could be like freaking Microsoft. It could be a big like multinational
yeah,
real business
and we
that
could,
just once he dies and the apprentices disappear, just keep clicking on like a normal fucking business because it's got a board of directors or whatnot.
yeah, and the one cool thing I think I like about the idea is like kind of
Uh,
making it a very broad organization where they're they'll have a legitimate fun. Let's say Obenmal wants to play a more straight laced character that's kind of maybe somebody a little more respectable in appearance at least.
yeah.
He
How
can come from that, and if Shadow wants to play a street thug, from like a the sweep bike gangs or something, he could play that, and then it kind of
yeah.
you could have a situation where why are we having those people together?
Because they all meet up at the same
What's up,
club.
Grandma? We
They're
were just talking about
Yeah.
you.
boss. But like, how far before the prequel series do you want to place the?
I'm still debating. It could be anywhere. Maybe I do like the setting of 4,000 years, whatever it is, three
I thought it
three
was only
thousand nine hundred.
1,000 years.
And it's four. The Old Republic is 4,000. Well,
Really?
the
I
no,
thought,
yeah. So the Freedon Nad, not Freedon Nad. The Tales of the Jedi, that is four
yeah,
thousand.
that's Freedom Net. The
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm thinking like that's 4,000. 5,000 would be like the Sith War, the hyperspace wars. But so it's
Yeah.
around 4,000, 3,900 somethings, where you have all
Yeah.
that whole sort of it's all packed in basically one century. A lot of that Old Republic stuff.
That's the fuck Naomi Sunwalker or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm thinking the spaceship's going to be called the Freedon's Nads.
uh, um, there was a character in those video games that you like that was supposed to be Naomi Sunwalker, but
Yeah.
they couldn't get the name.
Bastila was
So
supposed to be that.
yeah,
Oh, really?
was it Bastila?
Yeah, which would something. But I'm glad I haven't read it, but like in retrospect, that would have been a bad move, I think, because you are free to go to the dark side in that game, and so she goes to the dark side with you in the end. Spoilers, sorry, if you choose the dark side path, because she's so attached to you.
Well, I think that was like probably a byproduct of them not getting the names right,
Yeah,
the rights to the name. If it had been her, she probably would have been like the final boss you fought or whatever.
yeah. Well,
Um,
I know there's one character
which would have been good.
Yeah.
Which would have been interesting from everything I know about the game.
Since
And that storyline.
since I've been like doing all this research, I get all these videos coming up. So one of them was there's a lot of the alternate endings for the first games, and the one character, gosh, I forget his name, but if you play as a female, he's the love interest, and he does not follow you to the dark side.
Yeah, the pilot guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I forget his name as well.
Karth.
I kind of liked. It's weird. I liked the first game's story better, but I liked the NPCs or the other characters you got to run in the second game better.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian, the different female characters, because the Twilight character, she was kind of boring. The Wookiee also boring. But the droids were cool in the first game, and they came
Yeah.
back in the second. But the other characters were just kind of, you know what I mean?
Darth Kreia. I don't want to spoil anything. Okay,
Yeah,
Darth
she's-
Kreia. Sorry,
I
she
know.
is she is probably one of the best characters in video games ever.
You think so?
It's very because she plays this like she's supposed to be gray, at least in the game, and there's a lot of philosophical stuff in it. It ties into the Star Wars lore. It's pretty interesting, and she
Really? Because I hated her.
because part of it you're kind of antagonistic to her. She's also manipulating you in the game. She does become the villain, but she's manipulating you. But she's also, if you play dark, she's mad. She's upset with you. You play light, she's upset with you.
In other words, I couldn't think of something that she would like you for. So
Yeah, she wants you to
uh,
play smart, not either.
Yeah.
yeah. Or more accurately, she wants you to be her
Yeah,
bitch.
I could
Yeah,
almost play those games again, even though it's been like a year,
yeah.
because they're so good. It's literally my favorite video game of all time.
The
Uh,
one part is it's tough when you're in like a cutscene where you're talking with the Wookiees because there's no they just have the words and they don't.
There's no narration.
Yeah, it is, and it's just the screaming Wookiee noises, and they all just sound the same.
yeah, but I mean, the game's what, like 35 years old now.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, and they did the updates, and they were hot garbage, from what I understand.
oh yeah.
Did they
It,
just do that? Wasn't that what,
there
like
was I think there was
2 years
I
ago?
never played. I was interested in checking them out, but I know they're trying to find like things that were abandoned subplots and things like that were abandoned.
No, I thought like they made the character a
uh,
lesbian or some shit like that. Or
Grandma, she was just to me. Treya was just like this old hag, this bitter old hag, and I was glad when I got to lightsaber her because she was just a bitter old hag. It didn't matter. She just seemed like, you know,
Let me find
it
that.
wouldn't matter. Whatever it was, she was just going to be, you know, you know. Whereas the other characters, uh, most of them were clearly good, or yeah, I'm going to say they all seemed to be good. But if you went toward the dark side, they kind of tried to deal with it, but more backed off, which made more sense than every one of them going with you. Um, except for that one girl who was blind. She
Layla
was,
Miraluka.
yes, crazy space cat lady. Uh, she literally looked like the Wicked Witch from
hey, Raven's not here.
Sleeping Beauty, was it, or was it Snow White?
Don't talk about Raven when she's not here.
But who was that woman in the second video game?
I think it's
She was blind and she worked
I
for
never
yeah.
actually played them, man.
It's Vista. I think it's Vista or something like that. Like something with a V.
Yeah,
She wears those red gowns. She was one
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah. She was kind of interesting as well, along with the clones, the women that all had the white hair and wore nothing but white.
yeah.
That was kind of cool on the ice planet. Um,
Mm. Yes, the handmaid. I think they called her.
yeah, yeah.
So
Uh,
this is a very long video, but this is the philosophy of Cray. I just linked in the reckless rants. The but it's like it talks a lot about it, and you get a good appreciation from that video. But I enjoyed her as I played it. But it's I kind of liked it because it's sort of because I never really liked the Jedi philosophy. At least this
yeah,
whole
when I
it didn't.
discovered what it was, I was like, I could never live like that.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense either. Like
No.
they're like now the army for the Republic. They're the police for the Republic
The one from the prequels or the one from the comic.
from the prequels, and
Okay.
then the
Did
comic.
you ever watch Red Leather Media?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I think.
Okay. One of the things that got Red Leather Media famous is about 20 years ago. No, longer. They did this review of the Star Wars prequels and some of the Star Trek movies from around that time with this character called Mr. Plinkett, right? And you need to go watch the Phantom Menace. Yeah, that's the first Star Wars movie
Mhm.
review. And it's on YouTube. It's in their YouTube channel. You can go to
Oh
the
wow, 13 years ago.
yeah, no, it's older than that because it was on their website before that.
Yeah,
Um, that's when they uploaded it to YouTube. But yeah, you go watch that. It's like 7 parts long. They're all like 10, 15-minute clips, right? Um, you will die laughing. because it thoroughly breaks down all the technical problems with the movie,
Yeah.
along with like telling a little story in the background that's funny.
Yeah. One of the interesting things is the West End Games. They
Yeah.
were writing in the 80s and the 90s. So the prequels didn't come out till like almost 2000.
1999 is when
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
first
So
prequel came out.
and then the those Old Republic games came out after that, just soon after that.
Was it?
And yeah,
I thought they came out like 90.
no, they were like 2003 or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah,
I'm not sure if
they
they came
came out
out. Yeah, and,
after the movies.
Oh, okay. So they're only
and
like 20 years old.
Yeah, because the movies were a heavy influence on a lot of the decisions they made
Okay.
for those
I can see
games.
that.
and the then there was the Tales of the Jedi. They came out in the 90s, I think, or maybe even earlier than that.
Yeah.
So that they came out before the films, the ones
Yes.
with Exar Kun and
94, 95.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so they have a different
It's a
feel
comic.
of the for the Jedi. They're a little more like there's married Jedi, there's Jedi brothers that they're working together, or at least one of the themes is that the one becomes falls to the dark side and the other one is good. Though they don't really play that other the good brother up as a character as much.
As they should have.
Yeah, and one thing is there are some people have one. Some masters have one Padawan. Some have like a whole gaggle of them. It's sort of like it's very decentralized. And then when they made the movies, they have they show what it's like. And then when they go to the games, they kind of and the games take place only a few decades afterwards, and they kind of gotta connect the two, I guess. So they have to like make the Jedi seem a little more like the other ones, like the ones in the movies. So there's kind of this weird little change, and I don't know if it was in the lore, but there's like kind of like changes uh to like the way they ran their order afterwards. But it doesn't make any sense either because it's like they should have changed it in more of the decentralized direction. Like, don't get involved with you're not the police for the Republic. Well, actually that does become like that because they don't join the Republic in the fighting the Mandalorians, but then half of them leave anyway because they wanted to fight the Mandalorians.
Yeah. We're getting feedback through your speaker shadow. I think that's coming from you.
Let me mute me, see if that's.
That. I don't know. Yeah, it's coming from
Yeah,
Shadow. If you
I
mute
was going over to
yourself,
Discord. No. Anytime I go over to Discord for some reason, in the middle of a show because I wanted to tell George something before I forgot.
sorry.
It acts really weird. I can go to other places, but when I do Discord, it is weird.
Okay.
They kind of
Yeah,
did
Yes.
that, Grandma, in Knights of the Old Republic. There were three different kinds of Jedi. Remember, George? The Guardian, and I forget the names of the other two. You had like three different character classes of Jedi. You remember that?
Yeah, the Counselor, Guardian, and Sentinel.
I think so. Yeah.
That's reasonable though, right? Like you have different specialties. Um,
Mhm.
like I personally don't like the naming them. Right.
Yeah.
What they should do is like you have uh like 30 or 40 different things you skill base in or whatever, right? Um,
They
and
kind of
then
do.
yes, but then you can just pick and choose what you're interested in, and maybe if you can loosely but not visibly group those skills. So if you like learn something that is like mind based, and then you want to learn something else that's mind based, it'll be slightly easier because you already have like the internal concepts understood,
Mhm.
so it'd be easier to learn that. Where if you were like doing something physical based, like
Yeah.
moving shit with your
I-
mind,
In the
uh,
in the
not
game,
like these are not the droids you're looking for, is like a mind based thing. But then like lifting the X wing out of the swamp, that's a physical based thing, right? Because you're lifting a physical object, not fucking with someone's head.
Mhm.
Um, that would be like not as easy to learn because you've already got mind based stats or whatever. Right?
yeah. What
Maybe.
in the game they have three sort of talents for the Jedi, I guess call it. It's sense, control, and I forget what the other one was.
Um,
Sense control and something else.
I know
And
in the books that their aptitude was like with machines, with
yeah,
people, with environments, or something like that. So there was a whole breed of the Force that like just make you really good at doing mechanical stuff.
yeah.
Like, and that's
Uh,
why you have a civilization that looks pretty much feudalistic, but has droids and shit because
Although I could
you
also
know
see where you'd have like Jedi orders out in the boonies that was started by this one guy, and they kind of lionized that guy, and all they can do is teach you to be as close to that guy as possible. Like these are the only abilities they can teach because they have his like writings or his scrolls or whatever from
yeah.
after he died. So that's all they have. His
Well,
Padawan, took on a whole bunch of apprentices and taught them all the same shit he learned.
yes,
Just
they
steal
would do that, but the problem is a lot of the learning of that stuff. Like obviously, as a person playing the game, you pick and choose, but a lot of the learning, as described in the stories I've read, anyway,
uh,
are listened to because there's a
uh,
distinction. Um, it's usually the Padawan's like internal driving to that, and
okay.
then the
Where they, they,
the
they don't want to do exactly, they want to do their own thing.
well, it's not so much as like they're called to it, like they're called to a discipline, and sometimes they'll like force themselves past that calling to learn something they need. So you could have the boony guy where it's like, yes, you're going to learn all the stuff that Jim Bob did because we're the followers of Jim Bob, and this is the Temple of Jim Bob.
Yeah.
So you're gonna learn how to fucking repair a tractor, damn you! But
The tractor droid, get it right.
okay, tractor droid. Yeah, you don't have to use your bodegian crystals to make a bodega lightsaber. You got to make yourself uh,
that's
a crop crop cutter droid instead.
that's one of the things I want to do is to make like the lightsaber the sort of like the goal in like one of the first sessions or so, or the second session. Perhaps the first session the goal is to get your ship,
Oh
and
yeah,
then the
yeah, yeah,
second
yeah.
one to
But
get your lightsabers, or at least something like some aspect of it, like get the crystal or something.
okay,
Mhm.
so we could do like 10, 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, because we usually have 3, 4 players
Hmm.
of like I don't know, uh, quick time. Everyone's got to help this guy go someplace and trap a Jedi. It's just basically that scene from when Naomi Sunwalker's husband died,
Hmm.
but it's instead of hut gangsters, you're all taking turns cornering some Jedi to steal his fucking crystals.
Yeah.
It's like gangland initiation. Like, you gotta go kill someone. Prove you're in the club.
The
I'm sorry, I'm writing these scenarios for you. But
Yeah. Oh, I just looked it up. As alter is the third, so it's control, sense, and alter. And if you
Yeah.
want to be badass with a lightsaber, you need to do both control and sense. Both sense and control. Sense is so you don't cut your own foot off, and control is added to the
Uh,
damage.
I figured that would be knowing how to move your arms in the right place.
Yeah. Well, moving it and not yeah, moving your arms correctly and not hitting yourself.
Yes. You basically force the blade away from yourself as you move, so you don't accidentally. Ouch! That auto cauterized. I'm okay. I got droid parts in the back room. Oh.
So yeah. So Shadow, what kind of character do you want to play as a sort of like I kind of figuring what their backstories would be like. I know that Dustin wants to play.
I was actually just writing that down.
Oh, okay.
Let me I'm gonna write it down.
Because I'm thinking one of the things it's more in the newer stuff, and it's actually kind of lore, not lore breaking, but it would be they would really be in the time that we would have them. That I'm thinking about playing in is the Night Sisters, which if you ever watched, they have the Asajj Ventress character.
Uh-huh.
She's one of them. They're
The ones from the lesbian.
yeah, they turned them into lesbians later. In canon, in Legends they're not lesbians. In canon they are. It's
Were they the ones from the moon that Han bought Leia?
Dathomir. They're from Dathomir. I'm not sure if Han bought her that, but it's this like wild planet full of the dark side.
Yes, 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 yes. That was his engagement present in the first Corellia book, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's how they ended up on that jungle moon because he had bought it for her, thinking it was uninhabited.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
And one
look,
thing,
you're now a princess again, honey.
and that was one thing I think Shadow you were saying earlier, like like these weird sort of side groups that where like they're just
She's like,
following.
you asshole! You bought me a planet full of Sith lords.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are definitely in the doghouse.
Yeah. You brought me. You should have
If
just
you
got me a
survive
chocolate
tonight.
diamond.
So for my character, George, I'm thinking like a cat burglar, someone who scales up the walls of high tech skyscrapers, and maybe
Okay.
does the glass cutter thing and breaks in and steals shit.
Okay.
But why would he need to do that? He can just walk into to the front door and say, "Give me all your goods."
Well, because he doesn't have those powers at the beginning.
Yeah, he'll have more of the
Gay.
physical powers.
So
the
once I
custom
do
and
have those, any of those powers, I'll use them to not fall to my death more often. You know,
Yeah.
maybe like
space
you know
jam.
how like Anakin just freaking jumped out of the speeder, when they're
Yeah.
chasing that assassin, he just jumped out because he's like,
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
just bounce off something eventually. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
splat. It's cool.
Yeah. The I need spectacle, not story. Anakin.
You got to admit it was kind of cool, even if it was ridiculous. You know,
Overdone and
yeah.
you know
I do like RPG Grandma's idea. Two space janitors.
well, you don't know. We could be like you could have a couple of us undercover. Like we have to live our normal lives. So nobody suspects we're just a Sith Lord and not a
So we're
senator
basically
from
the Jar
Naboo.
Jar Binks, Abbott and Costello team.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There we go. You'll be a Gungan.
My my,
No,
my, my, my day job is a janitor, slacker. I like to spend my nights at the bowling alley drinking White Russians, but when my master calls, I gotta kill some kids or something.
being a janitor would allow, especially if you were like a janitor at the UN building, but also a Sith Lord, you could just get
Yes.
in and just, hey, how's it
Yeah,
going, Joe?
yeah.
Give me the files you're carrying. All kinds of crazy shit. It would be a
Copy those and place them in your waste paper basket unshredded for me.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking, if this works out, we're having fun, we should do like a Life Day special, like session. Life
Life Day. It's the Star Wars Christmas.
Oh God.
You guys could be Art Carney and Chewbacca.
This game is going to be around that time, by the way, bro.
Yeah, probably.
No. Yeah, no. What we could do for the Life Day special is kill the legally distinct versions of Art Carney and Chewbacca, so we don't have to put up with that damn Christmas special this year.
You're Dark
Like-
Jedi that have to stop them from getting all the presents for Life Day, whatever it was. Has to deliver.
No, well, I assume that it's like a Christmas special on space television in the Star Wars universe as well.
What was that?
And we're sick and tired of our regularly aired program being interrupted for this Life Day special, so we go and kill the fucking
Jedi go
host. That's the side mission. Prevent the Life Day special from being produced this year.
You're in downtown Burbank right now, and
Spent a lot of time in Burbank, dude.
But it's Burbank, Moss Isleys, not in California.
I'm certain I would still run into Patton Oswalt and want to punch him in the face.
What's wrong with Patton Oswalt?
He's a pedo.
Nah, I don't know that.
yeah,
He's a pedo. Sorry.
I remember Shadow's story about seeing him in the store.
Yeah.
The Life Day. Jedi go bad.
You know, I remember watching the Christmas special, but I don't remember a damn thing about it.
Yeah, I don't.
That's
I
a
never,
good policy to have.
I didn't watch it at the time, but I remember everybody was all about Boba Fett because I guess I didn't know, but it was out there before the movies. Boba
Yeah,
Fett. Boba Fett, Boba
there was
Fett.
It started with a cereal brand, like the cereal that just came out of nowhere and existed long enough for it to have the mail in. You send the 2 box tops, you mail it in, you get the rocket firing Boba Fett. I got one, dude. It was, it was the coolest character because there was nothing about him. You could just make up whatever you wanted. He was, he was a bad guy, clearly, bounty hunter or whatever, but there was nothing about him. He was just pure mystery, and they ruined that in the prequels by revealing all of that mystery.
No, they ruined that in the books.
I didn't read any of the books he was in. The only books I read was the Splinter of the Mind's Eye, Han Solo at Star's End, and then the orange one that came after that. I can't remember. I think I still have them somewhere.
Splinter of the Mind's Eye just doesn't count because it was the original script idea for the second movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's not canon in the Legends.
From what I remember, it had a lot of elements of the Dagobah swamp and going after a crystal or something.
Yeah.
I read it
because
once.
They stripped it down. A lot of the ideas were in the movie, but
there was three paperback books that came out. I think in between the time of the first and second movie, Han Solo at Star's End, and I can't remember what the other one was. It had this orange cover with Han Solo and Chewbacca on it. And those are the only ones I ever read. After that,
yeah.
And the comic books after that, I just...
Did you ever read the comic books that we're referring to?
No, I read the originals
Okay,
that came out by Marvel.
The
I'm
Marvel
looking
one,
at
yeah.
picking up some of the Knights of the Old Republic comics and some of the other ones that I think might be interesting. The Dark Empire, to get those back into my collection.
Yeah, the Dark Horse. The Dark Horse did a far better job with the properties than Marvel did.
No, Marvel, it was damn near 50 years ago and 40 years ago, whatever, and it was all there was.
Yeah.
There was no infrastructure to gather people. There was no internet. They had to do the best they could, and up until because comic books went from 1 to about 50 to when it got to The Empire Strikes Back, and they had to weave it to actually make it fit so that when The Empire Strikes Back came out and they put those in the rotation or in the series, it didn't seem weird, but it was just like an alternate Star Wars universe, and there was some really fun stories in that run, but there was nothing else to compare it to.
Yeah, I think I got started getting into it through the games first. I played the Jedi Academy one,
Hmm.
and I played and then Old Republic, and I'm like, oh. Then I started like looking up like, I think I got like a book on like a Star Wars lore, like almost like a comic book, looked like no, like a comic, almost looked like
Oh, that
I,
reminds me.
I literally brought it on a trip to Vegas once, and my friend thought I brought myself a coloring book. Like he just saw me, and I opened it up, and there's like drawings of like Star Wars stuff. He's like, "You just brought a coloring book." What the
I had this paperback book that came out, must have been 78 at best. It was called The Force Behind Star Wars, and it was this new agey religious book. I kid you not. It was so freaking hippie trippy.
Now,
Just
now, was this before '99?
oh god, yeah, it was
Okay,
in the 70s. I'm
okay,
gonna have to
okay,
look
okay.
for it and see if it's still
I,
out
I,
there.
I'm just wondering if they had a cataclysm after learning of like these people form this actual religion.
Yes,
Okay,
it
okay,
was like, yeah,
yeah,
it was
and then
almost like
Star Wars Phantom Menace comes out, and then they have like a schismatic over midichlorians.
midichlorians.
Yeah, George, fuck your Star Wars game. I want to play this. You're running just real people in real life having religious arguments over midichlorians.
Yeah. Well, what I think is
we,
now
we, got, we got to teach Shadow about different kinds of action than just violence.
the middle chlorians put me off, but I remember like maybe it could be that the midichlorians are just attracted to your force powers. They're not. They're like a
No, no,
symptom, not
no, 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 no.
a.
You got to remember these words verbatim. Remember, repeat after me. George. George Lucas
George Lucas
is
is
stupid.
stupid
Oh my god, I found
all
it.
the way to the
It,
bank.
it, it is 1977.
Oh wow.
The Force of Star Wars by Frank Alnut, 1977.
Yeah, yeah. Now, George, do you understand what that means?
Yes.
Okay. Like really, really stupid.
Yes.
Okay. Trying to read too much into anything George Lucas does is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ever
And if
see-
you watch that Red Leather Media uh, thing, they actually have like a segment where George is watching the final cut of Phantom Menace with all the people that worked on it, and he hangs his head in shame, and then they're like standing around the kitchen or whatever, just outside of his home theater, and they're like, we can't even fix this in post and editing. It's just that bad.
It's
That was in the DVD extras. We made a piece of shit.
Do you guys remember Mad
everyone's
TV
like,
and
oh fuck.
Mad
Mad
TV?
TV, yeah, I remember.
do you remember
Mad TV.
Will Sasso playing George Lucas
The
on
fat
Mad
guy,
TV?
yeah.
He actually I thought did a really
Yeah.
good George Lucas. Um,
Okay, sorry, he is not as good as the fuck. What's that guy's name? Is Jay, Mike, and can't remember the other guy's name from Red Leather Media. He does a better George Lucas. They put him in the plaid shirt and everything. And it's just perfect.
so I'm
What's
actually
up, Grumpy Old Slam?
watching the Phantom Menace with my daughter, my oldest. We're we just couldn't finish it the other day, so we're like 3/4 of the way through. But she does love she loves the song American Pie, and
Good
then
for her.
I showed her the Weird
Weird
Al
Al.
version. So we paused in the middle of the movie just to sing
Some
that
Jedi
song
guy.
together.
You know,
Mr.
that
Anakin
is
guy.
an actual masterpiece in parody.
Yeah,
You couldn't have
it's a
picked.
great song to begin with.
Oh, it was literally American Pie was literally the very first
I've
song.
only ever heard one bad version of that, and I think it was more because it was being performed by Madonna than anything else.
Oh,
Oh my
that's
God.
harsh. I was like
Yeah.
4 years old at the time, and that was the very first song I learned all the lyrics to all the way through. And
It's also the first song I learned the lyrics to. I don't remember any of them though.
it was an amazing song, and Weird Al
Yeah.
just home run that one. Just absolutely, uh, you couldn't have done a better tribute to both things at once. Uh, just Jackie and I have some fond memories of that song as well.
My
When he
favorite.
was because he went through a Star Wars phase like hard, from I don't know 3 or 4 to about 11, maybe 12. When the sequel movies came out and we saw all three of them, uh, that was what like killed it, you know, because those movies were so awful. And even as a kid, he's like, "This is garbage. This sucks." Except for the little phase he went through where he actually one year he wore for Halloween the red Royal Guardsmen with that real cool like plate armor on their shoulders, those red uniforms. He wore that one year, and one year he was Kylo Ren. And then after that, it was over. When it came to
No,
liking
I,
those movies.
I don't want to be Daisy Ridley, but I do want to be in Daisy Ridley.
I thought Carrie Fisher was way hotter, a million times hotter.
No,
Daisy, not into freckles, and there was just something about her. Even what's her name, Padme, I thought was prettier.
Natalie
Daisy
Portman.
was just too
Now,
too much like the girl next door.
I prefer her handmaid, Keira Knightley. I would also like to be in Keira Knightley.
They did look a lot alike.
No, they did not.
Certain features.
You are a blind motherfucker if you think they look alike.
No.
Different eyes, different cheeks, different nose, different jawline,
Something
different
about
mouth. The only thing that looked alike about them was the white face paint and the two dots on their cheeks.
what was with that dumbass makeup.
It was
God.
like
Make
they were
make
doing
you not be able to tell they looked different.
they were doing Mongol princesses and hairstyles.
Yeah, I got more of a geisha vibe off that. That they're
Wow.
trying to do something like that. But yeah, I'm old school. Carrie Fisher, huge crush on her as a kid. What guy in the '70s didn't? Let's face it.
The slave lady outfit was, but
Just
otherwise
saying.
I could just you see. I watched The Burbs with
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks too many times as a child, so she's just always going to be a middle aged nag to me
Mm,
with the
I
short
don't know.
bob haircut. I think she had a short bob haircut in that.
I don't know. She had an interesting life, and
Yeah, having sex with fans at cons for $1,000 pop.
There's
Carrie Fisher. I never heard that even once.
She used to tell that story. She'd go to cons and for $1,000 she'd do you in the bathroom.
That must have been way later down the road. Um,
I think that was out through the 80s, man.
no, there's no way.
Yeah.
you're breaking us. You're breaking me and Shadow. We're just now broken.
You were like, for $1,000 I could have done Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm thinking for $100,000, I would have just bought her.
Yeah.
Ah,
And I'd have treated her right.
For an hour. Told her to go.
I don't know. She was.
oh my god, this wind has just picked up.
Yeah.
Oh, the first two movies are the best. All the later movies are not as
I
good.
totally agree, Grandma. The prequels, we didn't need them. I mean, think about it like this: if they had never done the prequels and instead Lucas was in charge of writing 6 more movies, but they took place after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
Well, bro,
the plan.
he chose that.
I know.
The problem is not the movies. The problem is George Lucas.
Yeah. One of the things is like the new movies, the Star Wars Disney ones, the was the Last Jedi, all that stuff. It makes you wish we had those. Like like you appreciate the prequels more. Like, oh yeah, it could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
But I mean,
And
I
literally, watch that Red Leather Media little 7-part thing. You put the playlist on; it'll run through them all,
I got
and
it.
it will break down every fucking thing, and you'll realize like no. And then there's that part where they start showing the DVD extras of like the behind the scenes stuff and just the blank faces on everybody when they're watching the final cut. And it's just like, and then them in the kitchen because he brings the receipts, as the kids say, on all of his opinions while he's talking about killing his ex-wife in the basement and sending you pizza pockets through the mail. Or sorry, what are those pizza bites? You remember those? Microwave pizza bites?
Pizza rolls.
Yeah, pizza rolls. Yeah, there's a running skit with the Mr. Plinkett reviews.
Yeah, it's weird.
He's gonna send you those in the mail.
I used to get those all the time from Jackie, and then they did something to them, and they're now absolutely garbage. I don't know what they did to them, but they're just. It's like they're filled with kitty litter or something.
They removed the cancer.
Maybe.
Cancer always tastes good until it gives you cancer.
I agree, Grandma. I thought she was pretty interesting, at the very least.
You should watch The Burbs.
I've seen it.
You should watch it 3 times a week for 15 years.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
And then not remember a line of it 15 years afterward.
Grandma, I'm so sorry to hear about that. I had a friend pass away about a week and a half ago. It's been a rough year with gamer friends of ours not being able to game anymore. And that's the worst. That's
Yeah. So I found a video from the YouTube channel I mentioned there, and I'm gonna send it to you.
okay.
You wanna watch it?
I'll try. I have some.
No. I mean, like right now. I'm gonna share it with you.
How long is it?
Oh, it's a minute and a half. I can put it on like 2 times speed or whatever. Let me know when you got it up.
It's up.
Okay, so
George Lucas cosplay.
it's running a little fast. I got the volume low. This is public domain music.
This is the line for the restroom.
This is the line for the restroom.
Are you sure this is the line for the restroom?
Mr. T.
Yeah, I can speed it up more if you want.
Yeah, please.
George
Nice,
Lucas.
Sally Jupiter.
Because George does that. Same shrug.
Nice.
Speaking of Lucas, it's been a while since I've watched it, but have you guys ever seen American Graffiti?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, once.
Oh, I think there's another video they have where he's sitting and then like the actual George Lucas is there. You only seen American Graffiti once?
Yeah.
That movie's better than fucking anything else George Lucas ever did.
Did you ever see Corvette Summer?
Yes.
Yeah, with
I think so.
Hamill.
Mark Hamill. Yeah. I think I've seen that. I think it was bad.
It was. I actually, I had back in the day. I had a friend uh, who eventually got into like a horrible car accident, and it pretty much crippled him for life. He became literally a vegetable. But we were going to go to the movies together, and we had different choices, and Star Wars was one of them. I went and watched Star Wars, and he went and watched Heroes with Henry Winkler. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody even remembers that movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
did you immediately
large-
come? Did you immediately come out of the theaters, wait for him to come out, or see him waiting for you, and go, "Okay, we're gonna go watch Star Wars again"?
I wish we had the time, but that reminded me of another movie about the same time. You guys remember Hero at Large with John Ritter?
No, I
No.
actually don't think I've ever seen that.
He was John Ritter, and he would put on a super suit, in like New York or something, and he would go and fight crime, even though he was John Ritter. No superpowers. It was weird, but it was actually kind of. I have to go watch that one again.
You ever seen Real Men?
Yeah.
That movie, it's my favorite comedy of all time. You know that? It is the greatest comedy of all time. It's so ridiculously silly.
Hey, yeah, that's a force power.
Right. It was so bad that Jubilee from the X-Men stole his power and was able to actually make it do stuff. She literally did the finger gun in the old days with her light power or whatever, firework power. I don't know. It was.
Yeah,
I like how Cartman calls it the finger bang.
Mhm.
finger bang,
South Park rocks, dude.
finger bang, bang, finger bang.
Yes, some of the shit they've been able to get away with over the years, just amazing.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to actually reviewing Team America on Connell's show sometime soon. Just
yeah.
because that was just
Oh, so after 30 years of agitating war with Iran, you guys went to war with them and lost.
we've lost so many wars. Going after people in caves is ridiculous. We don't fight wars anymore. We just waste time and people's lives and money. We've got these machines and these
And like the fucking gay ass thing was, we want to negotiate, and then you preemptively like, that's the bad guy. You're the bad guy. You know that, right? You know that, both of you. You're the bad guy.
I have no part in any of it. I don't know what you're talking about.
You more than most people.
Say hello to the bad guy. They're not gonna come around like this anymore.
Yeah,
I have nothing to do with it.
that's not true. That is not true. You wear your weird red hat. You're with your Star of David on it.
I have a Star of David, but it's not on a red hat.
Yeah, might as well be.
No, no.
Why do you have a Star of David?
I actually have one of those pins. It's the American flag and the Palestinian flag. I got a long time ago.
The Palestinian flag?
I mean, the Israeli flag. Sorry, that would be
I want one of those pins. That's like the
that would be
Canadian
hysterical.
flag.
I
or the
wouldn't wear
Palestinian
either,
flag.
but I got it a long time ago. Um,
You
uh,
should sell it on eBay.
Better get a smoke truck.
oh my God, you get in so much trouble.
What, the Israeli flag? No, that won't give you any trouble.
No, no, if it was the Palestinian flag.
You wouldn't get into any trouble for that.
No, because someone would see the website and then blast it all over certain social media sites. You know,
So what?
I don't give
I'm getting rid of some junk. It's yard sale, the website. Get rid of stuff.
Oh my God! Speaking of the yard sale we had this weekend. Oh my God!
Hey, Bruce. Oh,
Hey, what's up,
I
Bruce?
already said hi to Raven. Why
I
isn't
don't see
Raven
it.
in
Where,
here?
where the hell's Bruce? Oh, way up there. It's not coming up. Oh, duh.
You blind weirdo.
Okay, Grandma. Raven, you better hurry because I was going to close this up at on
4
on top
minutes.
of the hour. You know where the you guys know where the link is, Bruce. You're always welcome. Um,
Yeah. Bruce doesn't have desecrator.
yeah, you know what? You never did the friend thing last week, dude. What the hell? I went looking for you. I couldn't find you anywhere.
You got Discord?
Yeah, because you got a new Discord.
Okay.
Raven has the link. I don't know where to send you the link. Every time I send the link, Bruce, some guy tries to come on jerking off. Maybe that was Bruce. Okay, I'll tell you what. For you, I'll put the link in the chat, but I won't let you in unless I see your face. Because whoop.
Yeah. I'm gonna send them a long form email again with like pictures and shit because I want them to implement a master and individual camera shut off like they have for volume
Mhm.
because the host can mute you.
As well as on StreamYards has that as well. You know, well,
Yeah, that's standard, the mute thing, right? Because you could be making a bunch of noise.
uh,
But I wouldn't mind if there was like a master switch for the cameras that they were all off, and then you could individually turn people on, or you could just shut them off, and they can't do shit about it on their
well,
end.
I was thinking,
Individually turn people on.
Connell used to put you in timeout. Yeah,
Yeah,
that looks like hey, Bruce.
but I don't. I don't want you to be kicked from the show. I just want the camera disabled, right? So if you
Yeah.
have a call-in show, like you put the link out there, you could have the master off on the camera, and then only the approved people can be turned on for camera usage. That way, if you have a call-in, they can come in and talk, but they can't show you their faces. They can only show you their avatar pic or whatever. And then they'd have to like put an avatar pic of a penis or whatever up there, and then obviously, if you see that, you just like kick them from the back room, and then it like
Now, how
blocks
do you
them
even
from
kick somebody?
like you can't
Is it-
kick them from the back room. Like you can't kick someone from the back room, which is also a thing that they need to.
No, you
to
can
add.
remove them if you click on them. How you doing,
Oh,
Bruce?
you can.
Pretty good.
Okay.
Have you all been?
Busy.
Okay.
Busy. I had we did the yard sale this weekend, and it was just it was
Yeah,
awful.
He
all right.
helped a bunch of border jumpers get across, and he sheltered them for a few days.
You know, we got this thing
While
going
ice
on
was
right now.
roving
After the
by.
yard sale, we had everything. Literally, almost everything was still there. Nobody wanted anything, right? So we
Yeah.
wanted to donate it to Salvation Army or Goodwill. They're not taking donations anymore.
No.
Oh.
There are cycles when they're like just overflow full in their warehouses.
Yeah, but it was weird that both two different companies that do the same exact thing were not taking donations. Not even nothing. Literally no kind of donations whatsoever. Sometimes they say, no furniture or no this or no that, but just nothing.
What the hell's Bruce doing?
He's wearing a tuxedo tank top.
Yeah.
Haven't you ever seen one of these classy tank tops?
It's too
Never.
formal.
I've seen the T-shirt, but never the tank top.
Yeah, he's just switching his camera around and waving hi at us.
What are you painting?
I don't know. I just grab a miniature. I'm trying to get that level.
I actually cleared off a shelf. I had a couple of these stands for miniatures. I had to pack them all away because they're just sitting there collecting dust. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shelves over where you guys can't see, full of miniatures that are just collecting dust. They're painted, and I need to find ways to pack them up so I can put either new miniatures that I just finished or whatever. Because I can't even, even if I finish the things that are on my desk, I got to know where to put them.
And then,
yeah.
But you play at your house, right, Bruce?
yes.
Yes, I don't got any of that going on. Jackie used to have his friends over. I'd loan them my miniatures, and they haven't had a game in 2 years.
More miniatures. These are medals that I found for Reaper.
Nice.
Ooh.
I have almost everything from Reaper that I want. I haven't seen them put anything new out since Ed Pug, I think was his name, passed away.
Yeah, they have a very large back catalog though. So
I went through the entire catalog and I have everything I want.
This is the Lost Tombs of Hakir, which I haven't even unboxed yet.
And I'm also getting ready to throw away all my Reaper Bones white.
Wait, the white ones?
Yes.
yeah.
Why?
Because they droop.
Yeah, they droop. I'll agree with that.
I had this great white dragon that I painted up. It looked freaking beautiful, and he was standing up doing the roar. And now it looks like he's eating out of a dog bowl.
The new Bones resin or the new Bones black, I'm finding out have good longevity.
Even the Whiz Kids do it.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with the white is the original Bones line is that was when Sino casting was first developed.
Yep.
And it was like the first product to be released by that, and
Mhm.
they hadn't like worked out.
They hadn't worked it. It was the first fucking plastic release. I mean, it's kind of like the first time you make something, it's gonna be a fuck up.
Yeah. And like even the price savings in using that tech was so high that they couldn't pass up on it, because they didn't have to like the way they were doing things before was they had like the spin caster and they had to make the vulcanized rubber mold, and then the guy would have to pour some pewter into it, and they'd have to clip out everything. Instead, they just like beep beep boop, and then the mold's never degraded. So
I know, but it's just
it was just
such
tweaking
a
the formula
disappointment.
for this stuff.
There's a few models that they made, like things with 4 legs, like the Gorgon, the bull. That one turned out great. It's still the bullet, things like that. But anything like that is just going to droop.
Well, it's also like you've got pre-existing models that are designed for a different material.
Yeah.
Right, and you don't know the new materials' abilities, and
he's talking about that right now. Justin's on fucking point because this is a new type of plastic that Reaper's making.
Yeah,
and it's not quite resin. You can see it's kind of bendy. It's got some give to it.
Yeah.
The King and Queen of Hell are made of the same material, and I'm kind of questioning, like, is this going to be worthy? Is it going to stay in place, or am I going to have to pin the wings here at some point?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look through because I don't mind getting Reaper medals. I've never been disappointed. The other thing I didn't like about the white and even the gray or the Bones black, the faces never come out clean.
They take some work.
Yeah.
And the only way I've actually made the faces come out looking better, like this guy right here, I don't know if you can see that or not.
Nope.
Okay.
Barely.
Okay. That's the only negative about this camera. I wonder if the other camera will catch it right.
What's up,
Nope.
Edgelord?
No, it's too close now. You got too much
Okay.
depth of
So
field.
anyway, these guys, they look like that fucking Rachel Ziegler. Like all my goddamn Reaper miniatures are Rachel Ziegler with the eyes over on the fucking corners of her head. Just
Well,
staring.
because she's a herbivore and used to running, from predators, and you know,
I thought she was just
inbreeding will do that. I hear.
I all of my
Ziegler.
Reaper figs that like I've been working
Ziegler.
on, I'm getting better with it, but it just takes a
Ziegler.
while.
Zendaya.
I would love.
That's actually a African name, though.
Edgelord, have you ever worked with Dungeons and Lasers Archon Studios things? They are a really close second.
Heretic miniatures are actually better. Actually, no. My favorite mini, I've got to say, Mantic Games.
Okay,
Mantic was pretty good back in the day.
Bruce, did you ever go over to Bronze Age and pick up some of those barbarians and things like that?
I'm looking at the barbarians. I'm building an order over there right now. I'm not going to get anything unless I have like this desk cleared. But I've got like $200 worth of shit selected on my wish list.
They have some great stuff. I still have a crap ton of John Carter Martians and some other
They've got
stuff.
the pig orcs, don't they?
The what? I don't know if they have the pig orcs, but I picked up the Red Sonja, the Conan, the John Carter minis, and a couple of sci-fi things. They're God. I hope to God they don't go out of business because there's still a few minis.
Honestly, if I were to get back into painting, like I'll do the stuff I already have, but unless it's like 10mm for wargaming, I'm more interested in doing the larger, like 72 scale or whatever.
Yeah, like this one right here. I need to finish.
Justin, listen.
Wait till you see.
I'm just not interested in that kind of stuff, though. So
wait till you see
you play RPGs. How can you not love Tiamat or Maldekar, as Reaper calls it? It's not Tiamat. I can't believe it's not Tiamat.
It's legally distinct from Tiamat.
Yeah. It's just I'm not like a high magic or
Bronze Age miniatures, Edgelord, and definitely give Archon Studios a try. They've got some really good stuff, especially their scatter terrain. But Bruce, have you seen the new demon that Cal and I will be getting? It's like over 18 inches tall, I think. This giant freaking Balrog. But yeah, Bronze Age. Go check out Bronze Age and tell them I sent you. Maybe they'll give you a discount because I've actually got his phone number somewhere in my Rolodex.
Do you guys remember the company Icor?
Oh yeah, totally. I actually bought
2000s?
an Icor miniature a while back. I think that Walker is an Icor, isn't it?
Is it from Void?
Yes.
Then yes, it's Icor.
Yeah.
The original Void game, but they had a fantasy game that was like Celtic or Celtic or something like that. It was loosely based on like Central European, Irish, Scottish folk. Yeah, they had a pretty good range of fantasy.
If you're into like retro sci-fi stuff, Hydra Miniatures makes some really good stuff. Really good. I want to say about between $5 and $8 a mini for metal minis. But I went through them and I got everything I wanted. I might get a couple more of those giant Martian robots, but it's very rare that I see anything in a plastic that I want.
I like plastic, but like it's got to be either the larger scale or something that I'm gonna like rip apart to kit bash. Kit bashing plastic is always easier.
Oh sure.
Yeah. So I like plastic as bits. That's why I like the Frostgrave mini
Is that
sets.
Mantic or Atlantic or something like that?
Frostgrave is the minis are
Oh, they do.
produced
I gotta go
by
check them out. I'm writing that down. Thanks for
uh,
checking that out.
yeah, Pigface Orcs. Yeah, Pigface Orcs are good. I wish they did those.
Yeah,
You know what I came across? I don't know
Um,
what to give a shit,
because
but I actually go ahead.
Frostgrave does a really good Knoll set, so I think they could really do an Orc set really well. But no, they're produced by North Star.
North Star makes some good ones. Otherworld
Yeah.
makes some really good pig faced as well. But I
Otherworld is
recently
good.
came across. I have two different sculpts of Cerebus the Aardvark,
Yeah.
and I've got duplicates, but nobody knows who the hell that is when I talk about it.
Well, I don't. You don't know. You see me cutting them off the sprue,
Sure.
but these other guys might know. The plastic kits from North Star. They usually are there like 20 guys. Like it's two of the same sprue or four of the same sprue or some shit like that. Yeah, it's four of the same sprue. Um, and you get like five bodies, five legs, right?
So lots of extras.
And then like 10 heads and two sets of arms for everyone, and like four different weapon types. So you could do like a squad of archers and a squad of swordsmen and squad of axemen and a squad of something else.
Yeah,
Edge Lord, does Bronze Age make that Elric that you just mentioned? Because I actually have the original Games Workshop Elric box set that's got Elric, Moonglum, Rakir the Red Ranger. It's like a 10 miniature set. And
Yeah.
last time I saw it, for those 10 minis in the box, they're asking like $1,000, the cheapest set I
It's
saw.
disgusting.
I
I
know,
think
I know it is.
the box I was just talking about is like 20 or $30.
Well, I mean, it's
Yeah.
an old thing and it's limited and blah blah blah. Good luck finding it, kind of thing. I'm never going to paint them because even though I've got all the Elric and Stormbringer games, I'm never gonna play that game.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who'd want to. I'd play in it, but I'm not going to run it. I can't think of anything that isn't going to interfere with the story or not lead you down that road of how we all know those books end.
Well, it like that kind of thing is perfect for what we're doing on the Sunday night or the Saturday night show. It's just like try to be a little tighter than you or I were. Like I said before, try to make it a month and a half.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check out Bronze Age as soon as we're done here,
Yeah.
because when I made a nice order, they sent me a couple of extras, and I'll talk to them, maybe do another ad because if they've got new stuff, because they had the same stuff for like years. As a matter of fact, there was this guy, this jerk on eBay. I think his name was Minifigs or something like that, Collector Figs, and he would buy miniatures from people like Bronze Age and then recast them and and I picked up some of his stuff not knowing, but I got some things that I would have never found otherwise. But
Yeah.
he was a crook, and he's still there as far as I know. But
Yeah. There's a lot of like recasters, and in
yeah,
some cases, like there was this set I can't remember, like historical miniatures, like I said, the 175 scale, or the
72nd,
172nd. Yeah, yeah. Um,
like
so
Airfix.
like yeah, like well, I think more like Dragon or Tamiya or whatever. Um, and it's like the sets were these historical ones, and you'd buy them in sections. So it'd be like five figures on a little platform. But if you got the
Uh-huh.
next one, it would interlock until you had like a whole diorama
Oh,
of the
that's cool.
thing. So, and they're like $50 a pop, and they're metal. And there was this guy who would like buy them at our local club, cast them in resin, like quick cast, like
Uh,
reusable, or like a cheap casting material like silicone or whatever you could buy at the hardware store,
right.
um, and then mold them two or three times, and then he'd have his metal set for his collection, and then you could buy them at like half the price that you would.
Right.
And I have no problem with that because, well, that company had gone out of business like a decade
Is
earlier,
they go out of
and they were
business.
still like $50 to $100 for.
All the recasters I know actually have the rights and ownership of
Yeah,
those things that they've recast one way or another. Even though one guy he owns the molds, but because they're of famous lines like Star Trek, etc., he doesn't really have the ability
he
to make
doesn't
a
have the
profit off it.
intellectual right.
Yeah.
The
Whereas
intellectual
other
rights.
things he absolutely does have the permission, and he'll make you some stuff on the side, uh, and he won't make a profit per se. He makes his profit, by you buying a bunch of other stuff with it. So it's a side gig,
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people out there that have no compunction about taking other people's stuff. What am I looking at in private chat?
It is a 3-brush set of Kolinsky brushes
Nice.
for $16.
So I don't really have much to add to these conversations, but I heard that Etsy is now cracking down on sellers that are not selling their own, like their own prints, like their own models, prints of their own models. Like it has to be your own.
Can I copy this
thing.
and send it to myself later? Yes,
Like
I
you
can.
can't take
I'll just put it in your Discord, dude.
Open.
Are you in my Discord?
I'm in your Discord. I'm Dead Communists, our best.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see that, but okay.
I just popped it into the God Wars, the first.
Oh, there you are. Okay, I see you now.
Yeah.
Dead Communists are best.
Nice. I'll remember that, dude.
I'm sorry, George. I did not mean to step on you, sir.
Oh, it's all right.
George,
Yes.
don't tell me that's all right. Scream at me like Sam Kinison.
I'm already taking over a Star Wars game, telling him how he's gonna run it. So
Justin, I heard he was trying to monopolize on a lot of shit, dude.
yeah.
Oh,
It's like I'm getting so many cool ideas, so I'm going to share them with my buddy. And if he wants to tell me to fuck off, he can go ahead.
everything they're asking for, literally, the book is saying, "Do not give them this. Do not give them that. Do not."
Well, like okay, when I proposed the idea of like originally, every time I hear someone say something about the Star Wars game, they're always like, don't let anyone play a Jedi because that person ends up monopolizing the game, so no one else gets to do anything.
That's kind of true.
So I threw out the idea of everyone playing a Jedi. That way, no one can monopolize the game. And then I was like, but I want to be evil.
The dark side in that game must be avoided, because if you start fucking with the dark side, then just the entire game gets out of whack.
Yeah.
I've played D6 Star Wars probably longer than you've been alive. I spent 10 years. Not
Was
10.
it in the early 80s?
I played it from 87 to 92, and then
So
from
no. I was a little baby though.
I'm gonna apologize now because I always think you're a baby face.
I'm an old motherfucker.
No, you're not.
How old are you now?
I'll be 40 in 3 weeks.
Oh, you're old. You'll be 40. Yeah.
Yes. 40 is technically the definition of old, bro.
No, it's not. You're still a young man. When you get to 50, like me, though, that's at the point when
only
you're
a
like,
decade, man.
It's just 10 years, but that's also like you're going to watch a lot of your classmates die. You're going to see a lot of death notices for people that you're on your phone. I haven't talked to them in years. And you're like, holy shit, last time I saw them, they look like shit.
Edgelord, I can hook you up with the original Heritage miniatures of Star Trek at about $3 or $4 a pop.
Yeah, I was too busy looking at my Star Wars D6 book at the Star Trek convention to get an idea of what I wanted to ask Nichelle Nichols. So I missed out on asking her like some world-ending question, and instead I just said, "I really love your role as a her. I've watched you since I've been alive."
Edgelord, are you on my Discord? If not, I'll type in the name of the company you can go to. Tell them Shadow and Sun sent you, and that you're interested in. So, but to mind you, they are like white metal, whatever that is, tin or whatever,
Pewter.
25
This is
millimeter scale.
pewter.
No, it's not pewter. Uh,
Is it
Yeah,
P65?
white metal is like a 70 or 80 pewter cut with something else.
okay, maybe it's tin then. But
Is that P65?
no, I don't know what my friend uses, but he's got all the original Heritage miniatures, a lot of archive, Raw Partha, Conan stuff. But he's got the original Star Trek Heritage miniatures that include the Kazin and some other things from the animated cartoon when back in the early 80s. Heritage made these Star Trek minis
The
that had the
old,
bridge crew, Romulans, you name it, they
yeah,
got them. And he's even got some unreleased things.
yeah. Star Trek the animated series. The only part of Star Trek worse than modern Star Trek.
Right, but it had
Bullshit.
the
That's
cat,
actually good.
it had the Kazin, he's got the
You were
Talosian,
high.
the,
Okay, you were
the
high.
Have you
Romulans.
watched Disco?
Have I watched Disco?
Yeah. Have you watched Star Trek Discovery?
Yes.
Have you
Yes, I
watched the
have.
Chronicles of Mikey Spock,
Yes.
our Lord and Saviorette?
There you go.
I forced myself to watch it all. It was better than the animated series.
I can't believe you're the first person I've ever heard say that, because the animated series seemed like it reflected a lot better on actual Trek and old Trek episodes it would bring into the animated world, and it would echo quite a bit, but it would kind of further those storylines too. And
Yes,
Disco,
but it was mind-numbingly boring, and I didn't say it was insulting to the audience, which all new Trek is. It's not a racial hate letter to the fans of Star Trek, uh, which New Trek is, but
No problem. Just tell him
it
Shadow and
was
Sun sent you.
boring,
He'll
poorly
hook you
made,
up, and the
you're,
prices are dirt cheap, dude.
you're the first person I've ever heard say that. I'm just shocked
yes.
that I actually heard.
Most people don't actually analyze the things that they observe; they just repeat what guy on TV says.
And a little bragging, edgelord. I actually have a complete set of the original Heritage blister packs, unopened, including the like 65 millimeter Spock and Kirk, like larger figure that are not meant for gaming but just painting. And I'll never open them. I'm actually going to sell them as a complete set, and then take like 1/10 the money and get them all done in white metal because lead will rot. And
Yeah, you don't do things in lead. Unless you're like my buddy Jim, who's like walking around looking for brake
tire
pads
weight.
that are to tire weights or whatever, or going to the
No,
scrapyard and
I've
saying,
seen it happen. I've literally bought blister packs that were sealed from the 80s that you could
Yeah.
see them crumbling in the pack, and the seller had no clue what was going on. Sold them to me. I got my money back.
Who
Uh,
was who is the manufacturer of those, Shadow?
Heritage Miniatures.
Heritage Miniatures did that, because I had
the third party seller of Heritage
one of the first miniatures I ever bought was like in '93 or '94, and it was a dragon. I spent a lot of money on it. It was from Thunderbolt Miniatures.
Thunderbolt was a good company. I think you could still get them, maybe through not Bronze Age, Iron Winds.
Yeah.
I was not impressed with the dragon, because the moment I started putting it together, the moment it started crumbling apart, it sat in the package for like 8 or 10 years, and I took it back.
You know what? Jackie and I did one of the Raw Partha Dragon of the Month, which was the Mecha Dragon. I still have
Oh.
3 or 4 of that same metal dragon because it was a pewter, and you can still get them sealed for like 25 to $50. And they had some really cool dragons, like a Cyber Dragon, a Ghost Dragon,
I have the silver dragon from
Frankenstein Dragon, and they're still solid minis. They're a little small because they're 25 mil scale, but
yeah.
if you just want something to paint or represent, especially if you're like playing 15 mil, then they go great. Take care, George.
Bye,
Hopefully,
George.
see you tomorrow morning, man. I'm gonna
Okay,
actually
George.
go in 5 minutes as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, Raven, I'll be there in a minute. Isn't 30 minutes later and not showing up.
I have all 10 of those. Believe it or not, Grandma, George and Dave sent me literally everything Arduin made before they knew who the hell I was. It was like I contacted them, and I was like, "Hey, are you guys still in business? I want to buy a bunch of your stuff." They just sent me everything, and then literally, I kid you not, like 10 years later, when they came back out of hiatus because they had some family issues and stuff, I came back. I met them, and then we became friends. And I was like, do you guys remember you sent me, because one day I sent them an email, you're still in business, and I sent them my mailing address for some reason, I don't know why. And one day I just opened the door and there were 3 freaking boxes full of everything Arduino you could possibly dream of, including all 10 of those boxes. Bruce has one of them, you have a couple of them. They sent me all 10 of the VHS cassette boxes with the
I don't
10
have any of them.
with Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce has one of those boxes.
Yeah,
They're-
well, you said
Oh.
Bruce has some of them, and
I meant
you.
Grandma.
Okay.
Because I was talking to Grandma.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
sent-
but like I'm on screen, so I'm just clarifying.
But they sent me all 10 of those cassette boxes, and I don't even think they have them anymore. They were remember the old smooth, sort of rounded VHS boxes?
Mhm.
Yeah, the Disney.
They're a good
ones or whatever.
clamshell.
Yeah. And inside it, it's got a piece of foam, with 10 cubbies and 10 miniatures, in pewter or whatever, not lead. And I'm never going to paint them because they're
They're-
dinky, even for 25 mil.
There was a company.
Julie Bell sculpted them all, I think.
North Star was doing that with one of their games, but it was the DVD cases.
Yeah, I've got
they got like
something
a
from someone that's like that.
surplus.
It's got like 5 girls or like bad girls or something.
Yeah,
Not
they're
much.
for a game that was about like it was a skirmish game that was like Victorian era.
No,
So you
these
get
are
like
more
a
like
sh-
cheerleaders and
Okay, so they had a different one, but they had a game that was like the Victorian era. So you get like Sherlock Holmes and
Nice.
Watson and a bunch of the like the detective and a bunch of the what were they called, the something Baker Street Irregulars or
Yes.
whatever they're called.
Yeah.
I got like this one set that is there was like this mad scientist and this guy in a bowler hat, and I think there's like one female in the group. She's like the guy's wife or whatever. Because there's like a whole story. And they had like some Russians or whatever.
Julie Guthrie minis. They came in a clamshell.
Edgelord, not
Yeah.
to rub it in, but I've also got a copy of the original Star Trek role-playing game by Heritage Miniatures, the very first Star Trek game, role-playing game. I picked it up for like $10 on eBay, and it's in freaking pristine condition. If I ever get a printer, that'll be the first freaking thing I print copies of. It's hot garbage as a game, but if I put it on eBay, I could probably buy a motorcycle. It's that hard to find. They probably made like 5,000 copies.
What game?
Star Trek, the role playing game.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll never play it. It's sealed in a bag and board, and I know a lot of people would want it for their collection, but I read through it. It's like just no. Fast's version is probably better. I've got that, but I'm not really a big Star Trek guy anymore. When I was a youngster, though, I'd read the Star Trek log books like 1 through 15 or whatever multiple times, and played FASA. Yeah, pre-FASA. It's just one of those weird things. I got lucky, and I was selling miniatures on eBay and then turning that money in to buy things that I would come across that weren't miniatures, that were books, or they were miniatures. because I was making some really crazy money selling lead miniatures back in the day for about a decade. Just anytime someone sold a loose lot of minis, I would just buy them all and then resell them when I identified them individually. And the painted ones, I would strip and then primer white, and people would freaking buy them up like crazy. I still have my original logbooks from when I was like 10 years old. They're still downstairs on a shelf. I know exactly where they are. I loved them as a kid. That was, that's all there was. When it came to, really accessible sci-fi that you could talk to people about and they would know what you're talking about. Um, Star Trek was huge for, you know, really extensive, like the first 20 years of my life. That was, up until, like 82, 84. It was, other than Star Wars, everything else was just like a one and done kind of thing, and didn't have any following or staying power. And I still have a couple of the technical manuals and uh, the original envelope version of Starfleet Battles. Played the crap out of that.
Sorry, I kind of fell down a rabbit hole trying to find the name of that miniature set that I was just talking about.
Yeah,
Um,
I quickly looked at Bronze Age. They've got a bunch of new releases, a new page layout for their store. I'm gonna go call him. I looked. I actually have his phone number. I'm gonna call him tomorrow and say, "Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, Off Grid?
yeah,
Just as we're getting ready to shut down, because I've got to do some stuff here at the house,
yeah.
and I have to get working on." Yeah, I wish, Grandma. One of these days, I might have to just, you know, uh, rent a convention thing at the local, Holiday Inn or something, and just have a bunch of people come over to role play for the
Yeah.
weekend or something if I can.
So, are you going to do that challenge thing, or should I cut that segment from my show?
I want to do it. I really do. But I was actually thinking today, I was like, man, we need to get back on the cop game. Uh,
Yeah.
I've almost got my routine, for the God Wars, which is actually taken a lot of time. Uh, but most everybody is on the schedule. A few people that aren't, but this weekend, just I couldn't do anything. Uh,
Yeah. No, I noticed I was pushing it to the last minute, so started making my policy. I'll listen to the thing when it comes out, and then I will immediately sit down and do it right then and there. Um,
how long does it take you? Like 5 minutes?
Maybe if I'm slacking off, 15.
Yeah.
Uh, but I also do like a little blurb for each segment. I have my good buddy Chat polish the language, but I
Yeah,
come up
you're
with the
doing a good job.
idea.
Doing a really good job. I hope you're keeping all of that in a separate document somewhere.
I have that all on a Google Docs drive. They're all numbered, like
Hold on.
each. Bye,
Right as we're
Raven.
getting ready to close, Raven, where you been?
No, I had
What's going on now, Raven?
You all right, Raven?
tears.
It's been one of those days. I see.
Wow.
Yeah.
Raven, are you in Shadow's Discord?
She absolutely is.
She says Raven.
Oh, you know what I did? I still have YouTube. There we go. There
Well,
we
the
go.
reason why I was asking is that Shadow's
I
going to shut
forgot
down.
to turn YouTube off on the other channel.
Yeah, we were hearing the echo.
Sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, she's on my Discord.
Okay, because if I ever want to turn on the streaming, I got to see if she's up and like, hey, let's do something. Maybe
Yeah.
not today though.
Maybe not today.
I've been the heat. I'm in the garage. My garage is on an average at least 10 degrees cooler than the rest of the house. and the central air is broke. And it is ungodly in southern Illinois right now. It is just ungodly.
What town are you in? I'm not going to dox you, but you're in Central Illinois. You said.
I'm in southern. I'm right across the river from St. Louis.
Oh God, I'm so sorry about Bellevue.
I'm in Fairview Heights, which is just it blends in with Belleville.
Yeah.
It's it is now hell. We haven't
What's
had below 80 degrees. I mean, it's like 4 in the morning and it's still 82 degrees. This humidity is just brutal. It's brutal.
I hear you. It's been like that since mid-March for us, and it's 86 degrees right now outside. And I'm pulling a Biden. I've got a fan blowing the hair on my legs to make me feel better.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah,
a great
well,
one right here.
I opened the show with me unboxing a new ceiling fan, which will make it the third fan in this room.
Let me just show you this little wonderful thing I got. It's called a
I have
Vornado.
one right here. I have one like right here blowing into.
It's
the mic.
95.
Yeah.
95.
Yikes.
If you have this up in Kazakhstan, I recommend this. I really do. It's a Vornado.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
about
we
50
would
bucks.
have it. It's a thing you can buy on Amazon.
Mm.
Yeah.
They get a very good circulation all around the room, dude.
Okay, so I bought the same one we put in the hallway. We put the same fan in the hall to replace the fan we installed in the I don't know 92 or whatever. But I've stopped drying myself after getting out of the shower. I just walk under this thing and I'm bone dry. That's how much fucking air it moves.
They're playing me off. I got to get going, folks.
Yeah.
You guys can stay here. Bruce, maybe
What?
start a stream. Yeah, I got to hit the road. I said I
We'll
was
talk,
going to stop
Shadow.
it.
We'll definitely talk, and maybe we'll get that going.
Yeah. You guys, take it over to Bruce's channel, and
I sent you a Discord thing, Bruce.
You gonna start up a stream there, Justin?
Fuck no. I have a schedule. I'm gonna go get some running done.
I will see you guys tomorrow. Bruce, good seeing you. Raven, I will talk to you later. Justin, I'll see you tomorrow. Everybody else out there, Edgelord, Off Grid, check out those places I sent you, and I will talk to you guys later.
Go eat a taco.